Okay, we're all posted. Let's get in there. Hello. We're here. I hope you're all doing good. We've got some smooth lighting. We've got music on. This is a no rush review. All right. I'm just going to do top 4. So that should be what? This is winners top 4, winners side. And then we'll see winners finals and grand finals. So that might be 3 to 4 matches, I think. We're just going to start here because this is where I have the archive set to. So, I hope you're ready, right? I hope you're all ready to go. Okay, I gotta move this screen into a better situation, a better placement. All right, there we are. Gonna play some Strive later? I could. I have no plans. I don't plan that far ahead. You notice I don't have a stream schedule. I just open that shit up. And then do whatever. Sometimes I'll be playing Vampire Survivors. Like Lord Daigo, apparently. That was hilarious. I posted a video of me playing Vampire Survivors while watching CPT finals last night. And as soon as Daigo's done with his set, he goes and he starts streaming Vampire Survivors. I was like, fuck. I understand. Okay. Anyways, we've got Ram versus Faust. I don't know who's fighting who. I don't know who's... There was a... shit. We have to find the friggin... Oh no. I don't know how I have to find the standings if I'm gonna, like... Whatever. It's okay. Let's not fret. Okay, let's see what's going on. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. Okay, let's go. Alright, so very passive round start to begin with, right? Very, very, very passive. I want to look at that again. They both played reactively. They delayed quite strongly to start. Right? I don't have good VOD controls here, I don't think. Yeah, so they both sort of like were hesitant, right? In a tournament environment, you're not 100% certain of what's going to happen, right? You don't necessarily know how your opponent's going to respond. You haven't collected any data, right? Unless you've already been playing against the opponent. You just don't know. So it's generally a good idea to use options that don't bet the farm out of the gate, especially in this matchup. Less so for Ram, I think. But definitely for Faust, right? If you get counter hit on round start by Faust, you're already in a terrible situation. In this matchup, if Ram lands a clean hit and can carry you to the corner, you're losing drastically. And so being put into block stun in this matchup is okay. You don't have to worry about that. That's not a big deal, right? Ram doesn't actually have like great offensive tools against Faust if you're just blocking until you're cornered, right? If she lands like a far S at max distance, it's not that bad. Was this matchup bad for Faust and Exerd? No. I'm not sure if anyone how familiar people are with Exerd and Plus R, but Faust was super mega top tier in both of those games, and he was easy to play. So, like, Strive is the departure. Strive is the departure from past Faust. He's like, this game is a much bigger struggle, and things are a lot more delicate, I find, in Strive than previous titles. Faust essentially was the soul of Exerd, and he was the soul of Plus R. Yeah. So I thought, like, looking over the like the matchup back when I was really labbing the Ram versus Faust matchup in Exerd, I didn't find it to be like too daunting. I didn't find it to be too bad. Ram in Exerd could touch you and then essentially carry you to the corner and run like dumb mix. But Faust had a lot of options. Like in neutral, he had decent options. I don't think it was that bad. I just think it was like delicate. But I say that about every matchup I find is like hard to win. So he did not have bad defense in Exerd. That's the thing. Blitz is already a very strong universal defensive option, and Faust had much better movement. He had a very... Ooh.
Damn, 7 months, that's crazy.
Thanks so much for the resub. Gerald, no. Thank you so much. So in Exerd, his jumping hurt box was so small when he'd air FD that he could essentially like squeeze out of pressure. And he had a lot of ways to, and his crawl was shorter. And his 6P was more disgusting. It was far more rewarding on hit. And his 2K was disjoint. And 5D was involved, and he could 5D YRC. So imagine super PRC, but for 25 bar instead of 50 bar. And in this game, they took away most of his weird hurtbox stuff and made him just a big boy when he jumps and moves around. So he's like massive in this game. He's approximately like 6 times the size in this game, depending on the move you're doing. It's actually fucked up. And his dive kick is nerfed, right? So when you combine the fact that his jump was harder to tag with the fact that his dive kick was plus on block or like comboed on hit, his defense was terrifying, because if you gave him a gap, a single gap, he only needed a 4-frame gap to dive kick you, right? Because if you gave him a 4-frame gap and you followed that gap with a low, he could be jumping in that gap, and then he could hit you with dive kick and just like ruin your day. It was actually like super fucked up. Defensive dive kick was so strong in Plus R, where he could just easily combo from it, and Exerd, where, you know, he could still combo from it, but at least the spacing needed to be a little particular. But dive kick in those games, level 4 move. That's like a pot, like standing heavy, right? That's a big boy. That's a big boy move, that dive kick. So it was insane. It was actually like Faust dive kick could be up to plus 17 on block. Plus 17. Think about that for a moment. If you just did dive kick at someone's toes, you could block string into whatever you wanted, or just run in for a tick throw, and it was tight. It's like crazy. It was actually like degenerate. So that dive kick, not plus 17. Far from it. At best, it's like even or plus 1. All right, here we go. Item super already. Fantastic. Mario Party. Let's go. Don't swing when bombs are there. That's dangerous. Good hand here. Great jump back. So let's watch that sequence again. So I want you to... Okay. There's going to be a throw punish here. All right. Boom. So Ram went for 2K throw, right? Here's something I've been trying to tell people a lot lately. Always be threatening throw in your strings, all right? Anytime you're plus and in the face of the opponent, so on wake up, after jump-ins, after a 2P, or not a 2P, after a 5P, after a close S, in situations where you can threaten button tightly or throw them before they have a chance to like react to the situation, you want to be not throwing them, but having them scared of throw, right? In this situation, Nage was scared of throw, so he buffered jump. And he got a good punish for it. That's a spicy setup. What did he do? Okay, he went for the air dash safe jump fake. So now he's like, I'm gonna put throw everywhere in my offense. You better be terrified of it. All right. Have a spin. You got meteors. Congrats. I'm doing pretty good. So he's already threatening throw. He's like, I'm showing you throw. All right. He's keeping that in mind. He's like, at any point in my offense, a throw could show up. You better be jumping. You better be mashing on defense, or I'm going to grab you. Right? You need to make sure that you present throw. Because if your opponent is not scared of throw, they're not going to jump. They're not going to press buttons. And you don't necessarily have a good way to open them up. Close S, run up close S? Yeah, that's right. That can work. But you'll also find that a lot of opponents, if you've been doing a lot of like close S, 2S, they're just like going to be sitting there. They're just going to stand there. So yeah. So block close S, dash up throw, block close S, dash up close S, right? And they don't want to press buttons in that gap. You're leaving a big gap when you do close S dash up, right? A huge gap. But it's not a reactable gap. And they don't want to get counter hit by close S 2S, right? So they're already traumatized from the bog standard close S 2S 5H block string, right? And you're preying on that. You're like, they don't want to get counter hit after my close S, so they're not going to be pressing buttons. But they also don't want to get thrown after the close S. So they're not pressing buttons, but they don't want to get thrown. So they're probably going to like fuzzy jump after the close S. And so you can do close S, dash up close S, and you'll catch them jumping. Yeah. And you'll find that people who aren't used, you'll come across players who aren't used to seeing throws in that situation, and you'll close S, you'll run up and you'll just grab them for free, and they're like mind crushed. They're like, how did this guy land throw? A video on instant air dash jump H? I could. What do you normally do after 5H on block? Nothing. I don't do anything. That's like plan A. I just let it rock. And then once the opponent is trying to take advantage of that -7, then you might try stuff. But generally it's not good. It's okay to be -7 at a distance. You just take that. But if you find you're landing too many 5Hs on block, like an insane amount of 5H, then maybe you need to look earlier in the block string to try and brush up your offense, right? If you're always ending up having your shit blocked and you never feel like you're getting anything going, they're not getting hit by the close S, they're not getting hit by the 2S, then look at earlier in the block string to make improvements. So the problem wouldn't be your 5H. The problem would be, oh, your tick throw game is weak. Oh, your mix-ups are bad, right? But it's okay to have your shit blocked sometimes, right? It's never 100%. It's never 100%. So it's kind of hard to gauge like where you should be making improvements, right? If I have a degenerate mix-up, right, a 50-50, there's no way they could tell whether they have to block left or right. That's only going to hit 50% of the time, right? That's not outlandish. If I see someone block my sick-ass mix-up, I'm not like, how the fuck did they do that? It's like, no, it was a guess. It was like a 50-50. It was a left-right cross-up setup with like Scarecrow or something. But I expect that mix-up to work 50% of the time. Maybe a little more if it's like super weird, like a whack animation. But if I'm fighting someone who really knows the matchup, my 50-50s are supposed to, that's exactly what they are, right? They work half the time. So when evaluating your mix-ups, it's kind of hard without playing a lot of matches to understand how much something should work, right? So how often should your throws land, right, when you're running mix-ups? And that's a nuanced question. That's like, are you fighting an opponent who really understands throw defense? Are you making sure that you know how to capitalize and make an opponent too scared to avoid the throw, right? Like I could say, oh, if your 5H is being landed too much on block, you're probably not introducing enough throw in your game plan. Is the opponent scared of throw after jump-ins? Are they scared of throw on wake-up? Are they scared of throw after close S? Right? Those would be the three situations I would ask you. Do you think your opponent is fearful of throw in those situations? Or if they're not fearful, maybe you're playing like an opponent that is not like aware of throw mechanics. Are they doing things in that situation that beat throw? Right? And you want to answer that question, right? Yeah. So the only way to defend against throw in Guilty Gear is to make a read. You have to jump, or you have to backdash, or you have to press a button, right? And I kind of touch on this in offense.mp4 or defense.mp4. Those two videos I just uploaded. You want to answer that question, right? Like, are they challenging throws? If not, you should be throwing them, right? Because if you're not presenting throw, or they're not doing anything that, like, if they're not scared of throw, they don't have to press buttons. They can just block until you're pushed out. Because Faust doesn't have, like, a mix-up tool. He has 5D uncharged. That's your only invisible option. If someone's just sitting there watching the screen, like, he's just, like, looking at you, right? You can't open him up with anything but throw and uncharged 5D, which doesn't combo into anything without PRC, right? So it's like, you kind of want to, like, answer that question. I mean, I'm already telling you the answer. I'm like, yo, if someone's just watching the screen, what do you hit them with? 6H is not invisible to react to like a reaction stand block. If they're just watching you, they're just like looking at your character, you do 6H, they just block it. They're just like, oh, this is a really slow overhead, I guess I'll just block. And then they block the 6H, your plus or their plus, and they're laughing, right? So your options to rip open a reactive player is very limited. So you have throw, snip, and uncharged 5D. And that's it. You don't have anything else that can open up an opponent reliably, right? So they have to challenge all three of those options on a read, provided the setups into those throws are clean enough. They have to be clean tick throws, right? Like if I do like a dash up 5P, I want to make sure that if I'm going to throw after that 5P, that I do it super tight, as tight as possible, right? If after a close S, I do the close S into throw as tight as possible, right? There's still a gap, but it's a gap that's so small that if they're watching the screen and reacting, they can't challenge it, right? They can't just see like, oh, he's going for the tick throw, jab. That's impossible because my tick throw is so tight and so clean that a reactionary response is just not on the table, right? They can't just be watching the screen to challenge these throws. Do you usually default to standard throw for tighter timing? Normally, I go for snip. I will go for throw if I have a important reason to do so. So here's something, and it's actually in offense.mp4. I put it in the video, I think. Is I talk about delayed options, right? So it's very easy for Faust to run up on someone's wake up. Say I'm scared of wake up super. And maybe I think they're just going to hole up and block. Maybe I think they're going to do those two things. I've like pushed them to either panic super, right? I'm fighting a Ram player, right? And I've been blowing them up. So panic super and just blocking, because I've been hitting them with like buttons, lots of buttons. Okay, they're traumatized at the close S, so they're either blocking my shit or they're mashing super, right? I've been doing a lot of fucking close S. Yeah, lots of it. Awesome. Okay. So what I can do on their wake up is dash all the way, like dash up to them on their wake up. Look like I'm going to do the close S. But then I block on their wake up for about 5 frames, 7 frames. And then I just do throw, right? It's a delayed throw. It's like a normal, if you were throwing someone on wake up, you would be timing it like this anyways, sort of. But I give enough time, just an imperceptible amount of delay on their wake up, where if they super, I block. Because even if it'll interrupt my throw input, because the gameplay will freeze, there will be a big cinematic, and my throw input will get eaten, right? And then if they're just blocking, I toss them, right? And this is not something they can challenge on reaction. So that's where dash in, delay throw would be very good as a hedge against wake up super and just blocking, right? Now, if they jump on wake up, I'm fucked, right? It's like, but the read was they weren't going to jump or mash on wake up because I keep counter hitting them with close S. Can't they react to the cancel window ending? For after close S? No, because in in the case of 2K, K normals, yes, absolutely, because K normals have a fixed cancel window, but close S does not. Close S is cancelable into 2S all the way to the very last frame. Almost the very last frame. I think it's the very last frame. So you can always threaten that 2S up until the last moment of the close S. So right up until you recover. That's a very good little factoid. Good thinking. But yeah, because of the properties of delayed chains in this game, you like, if they're scared of the 2S all the way up to the last moment, they're probably not going to hit buttons. Did Pogo give Faust better mix? Absolutely. Yeah, it did. You could do some crazy stuff with Pogo. Pogo wire C command grab was fucked up. Exerd was a nutty game. And in plus R, counter hit Pogo could do like on Testament, if you had like 100 bar. If you smack someone like with counter hit Pogo, you did like 200 damage or some shit. It's like counter hit Pogo, RC, 6H Pogo, RC, dash up 6H, Pogo, flower going my way. The old command grab gave you a small combo or really good Oki. So you could You could do command grab, throw an item, and run item pressure, right? But in old versions of Guilty Gear, you only got one item. So you would like you would do Metagiri, like the command grab, hack and slash, and you would throw an item. And if you got bomb, you would run bomb Oki, right? If you got mini Faust, you would run an extended block string and then get something off the mini Faust. If you got poison, you would run Oki off poison, right? Item Oki was very strong in both versions of the game. Yeah, I really hope Rev 2 gets rolled back. I'll be streaming that for sure if that happens. Y'all have no idea. Nage is the biggest shitter in the history of Guilty Gear. All right? The biggest shitter in Rev 2. There's a lot you could do. Bamboozle, have a spin. GB Faust. There's a lot you could do with the mechanics of Exert. So if you wanted to be a piece of shit, there was nothing your opponent could really do to stop you from being a shitter. So when Nage would, this is an anecdote about Nage. When Nage would play an arcade, if he was like clowning on someone, he would hoard his bar, hoard his meter. And in Exert, you're not supposed to hoard your bar. It's way harder. Oh, you pulled a hammer. Powerful pass to Empire. Time someone out. He would either hold his bar until the opponent would burn all their bar, and then he would blitz IK them, and they wouldn't be able to do anything after being blitzed. Because normally you can just blitz back, like counter blitz, a blitz IK. So you touch the blitz, you get rejected. If you're on low life, the guy can gold IK you, right? And normally you just hit blitz and you just blitz back their IK, and they lose all their meter and stuff, and they lose the round, right? But if your opponent uses all of their bar, right? They have 0 bar left or under 25 bar, so they can't blitz back. Essentially, any blitz you land as like the as the attacker with meter, you can just like, if you have 75 bar, you can blitz any of their moves and just like combo into gold IK. And they're fucked. It was so good. Yeah, I posted a video about this. I don't think I explained it enough. Oh, Hirodin got smacked. And then on top of that, if you're hoarding bar, if you have 100 bar in Exert and your opponent is under 20% life, most stray hits, or you can find a lot of you can combo most stray hits into gold instant kill. And you can do it off really weird mix-ups. So Nage would have a bunch of like these sick-ass, awesome IK confirms, right? And they just looked hilarious. They just looked silly. Like he would be running throw mix-ups, right? And in Exert, it's pretty common to throw on wake up. It's very strong. But Faust dive kick is so good in Exert, and it causes so much hit stun that he would jump right before their wake up and meaty dive kick to counter hit them out of their wake up throw attempt and just like link it right into IK. So it would just be dive kick IK, and that was it. Game over. Or turning like weird stray item hits into an IK combo. So it looked like the biggest brain, zaniest shit ever. It was so nuts. Zutter. You get level 2 Zutter. Do I have any other videos of the IK setups? I do not. They're there. They're around. They're probably in the Jonio-san Mikado archives. They're buried in there. There are websites that catalog those matches. So those You can find Nage matches if you use like Keep on Rockin' and whatever. Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe we should watch past Nage stuff sometime. It was fucked up. Anyways. So here we go. So Nage here is now threatening throw. He's like, I'm always going to be throwing. I could throw anywhere on my offense where I'm plus. Watch out. Okay? That's essentially what he's telling the opponent. And to this Rams' credit, they knew that already, right? This was the first throw presented. They made the right read, correct? And they got out. And Nage has to PRC himself to safety here. Okay? So even though Nage lost this exchange, that information is still useful. Hey, I'm throwing you sometimes. Watch out. All right? And this is where the mind games start to build. You have to, now you're taking this information. This guy was already playing against throw. I'm throwing in my offense. Are you scared of throw still? Do you think I'm going to be discouraged because you backdashed out of my one throw setup? Right? This is where the rock, paper, scissors starts to build out, right? You're accommodating for your opponent, their fear of throw, right? So always be threatening throw. You don't have to always be throwing, right? But you have to make sure that at any point in your offense where you could present an unreactable throw, right? You are doing so. It's like key in this game particularly. If people aren't scared of throw, you can't open them up. It's just, that's the situation. So after jump-ins, if they're not scared of throw, you can't open them up. After 5P, if they're not scared of throw, you can't open them up. After close S, if they're not scared of throw, you can't open them up. On their wake up, if they're not scared of throw, you can't open them up. Unless you throw. Right? If they're not scared of throw, you throw them. But if they are scared of throw, they have to challenge those gaps, those moments on a read. And then you fucking close S them for all their life. Right? So quantifying fear is a big aspect of Guilty Gear and all fighting games. Quantifying fear is a way I would look at it. It might not be, fear might not be the actual emotion, right? You know, sometimes you're goading someone into like challenging a particular option of yours, right? And it's not fear, it's like bravado or some shit. But it's like, you know. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so he makes himself safe, but he tries something. I wonder what it was, because he could have blocked there. I'm thinking maybe he tried to 6P. I don't know. I don't know what that exchange was. But I'm almost certain if you come out of a PRC, you can block. Good defense. Oh, shit. So in that situation, he technically didn't have to eat shit. Right? So he's crawling. He was crawling under sword. He was expecting low sword, right? If you're clean enough here, you don't have to eat shit, right? You can go from crawling to down back to standing. You don't have to die. But I think he tries to dash forward under the sword. Oh, he just stands up. I wonder what he tried. He didn't get counter hit. So I wonder what it was. Maybe he tried to jump? I don't know what happened. I can't tell. He didn't necessarily, he could have been cleaner here in his defense. Oh, good defense. So Nage right now is scared of throw, right? He is jumping. And I want to see, what normals are Ram leading with? Right? Is it led with a 5P? 5P. So here's the thing. Okay? If you can react cleanly to these light normals, that's not easy to do. It's not easy, but it's possible. Fuzzy jumping's Not a bad idea, right? What's the worst thing Ram could hit a fuzzy jump with? Or a jump with? Just not even fuzzy jump, but like just jump, right, in this gap after this 5P, after that 2K, right? Because like 2K has a very limited cancel window, right? Like you can't, the 2K 2D string from Ram is very fixed, right? There's a very particular gap between them, or no gap at all, right? And so after the 2K, you can fuzzy jump in a way where she can't catch you. And after 5P here, what does she actually have to stop you from jumping out, right? She could chain another 5P. Whoopee. She doesn't have bar, right? Faust has a 4-frame pre-jump, yeah. So she could, but she doesn't have much she can chain into here, right? And if you're fuzzy jumping, that 4-frame pre-jump window is going to be shimmied about, right? So for her to snipe it with like a delayed chain, delayed catch of some sort, is not easy to do. It is hard. It is possible, but hard for someone to snipe a fuzzy jump with a button. Normally, what you do is you let them jump and you go after them with something advantageous, right? But that's not a guaranteed damage, right? So 5P, 2P, 6P, and 6H are all Gatlings after. Yeah, and those don't seem like those will do a lot of damage against a jump, right? You might force the defender back on his ass, right, after they block in midair. But are you getting damage? No. And so there's very little. It's a very conservative play to fuzzy jump here or to jump here, right, after these lights. So he took the conservative option, the risk-averse option, and he jumped. If the Ram had just did 5P nothing, right, just waited, a delay, a reactive play after the 5P, Ram would have been in a great situation to anti-air Faust here and delete Nage's life bar. But here comes Nage. Ooh, he went for... Oh, so it looks like she caught his jump with the 2D. Okay. Well, it's okay to flowchart, right? The mix-up situation is not so complicated that it's not like a bad time. It's not like a bad idea to like threaten throw, especially because Nage is jumping so much. So watch this: 2K, 2D. Oh, sorry, 2K 6P, 2K. Oh, the dash up 2K caught his jump, so he was still scared of throw, but she did snipe his pre-jump. Or sniped his backdash. It's hard to say. That might have been backdash. It might have been just barely caught him jumping, just off the ground. But notice she didn't get much in the way of damage. She had to win the exchange following that. So it's like getting air hit on purpose in pressure, if they're not representing things that convert on air hit, right? Not bad. So that Ram challenged the dash up throw really well. So Nage got air hit here, but she can't convert off the 2K very easily. So that's not a bad thing. Great reaction. So here, this is the right answer to that flip kick, all right? Is you want to react, eyes open, boom. That is the answer. That move is slow enough where if you're watching the screen, right, you got your eyes open, right? My eyes open. Got him. Shot him. Pow. If you got your eyes open, right, you can anti-air bots every time. All right? So the 5k anti-air is really good to just like answer that move. And if you ever see Ram doing this move, know that if you're doing nothing and just watching, you should be able to anti-air. Right? The startup of the move is like 27 frames or something, 28. The 5k should be guaranteed if you're really on point. Oh. So it looks like, ooh, spicy. So there we go. So already adjusted to Nage's throw defense, right? He's still fuzzy jumping. She went after his jump. And now, in that situation, she's plus. And these redashes, these stagger buttons, okay? Because Nage is too scared to poke out, he doesn't want to get counter hit for all of his life. So he's going to fuzzy jump if he's going to jump if he's scared of throw. And he's going to stay grounded if he's not scared of throw. And he just wants to push her out. Force her to do something bad. Okay? But she gave Ram gave Nage a pretty decent window to poke out here. Right? No cancel off the 2D. 2Ds have limited cancel windows, I believe. So that dash up is freely challenged. Oh, is that 2H? My bad. Thank you. Right, 2D is blanky mode. I forgot. Okay, so 2H does have a bigger cancel window, I believe. So she could have thrown another sword. Oh, is it 2S? Oh, my bad, guys. Thank you so much. Shows what I know about other characters. But he does poke out. When the opponent thinks you're going to do nothing but fuzzy jump or block, all right, then it is the time to mash, okay? And I think it's good practice overall when you're feeling out an opponent to represent those other two options first. Fuzzy jumping, like throw defense, right? And just blocking, right? Because what happens? What happens if you just do those two things, right? Catching your fuzzy jump doesn't really get reward, right? If you catch someone's, like if someone's just blocking there and you throw them, that's not a lot of damage. And most options that freely catch fuzzy jumps don't do a lot of damage either, unless you're pod and you fucking scoop.
Going my way.
Ooh, bracket man.
Oh ho 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 ho.
Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well. So, opponents going after fuzzy jump and going after you just blocking, they're not going to get the big damage they need to close out a match like that, right? The strive moment, boom, you got counter hit, well, your life bar is gone. Those don't happen if you're just fuzzy jumping or just blocking, right? Unless you're up against pot and he pot busters you, right? So in this matchup, where Ram's only invisible options are throw and uncharged 5D, does that sound familiar, right? I was saying earlier, Faust's only way to open up a reactive opponent, right? Uncharged 5D and throw, that's it. So it's on the other end of things, right? So if you're just blocking or just jumping, fuzzy jumping, it's hard for her to open you up and get good damage, right? It is possible for her to like snipe your fuzzy jump into like with a close S into like sword. But if you're used to crawling under Bajonado, the sword toss, that's very risky for her to go for, right? So
降下した P で一旦全身を咎める。
so Nage pokes out,
立ち合い
but he has so much risk.
足払いでバックダウンが出てくる。ここはうまく飛ばし
Very
なが
good.
らもう一度
Oh,
ツクをしたところ
challenged the
周りもになり
challenged the bomb really well. Even though he kind of lost this exchange, I really thought this was great. He would have benefited a lot from canceling into item as well, but I'm sure he knows this, right?
ここはうまく飛ばしながらもう一度ツクをしたところ自分で当たってしまった。周りもになり
But we got Gold Burst on deck. Ram is in a bad situation. Ram burnt all of her bar to stay safe.
これはしっかり届いている。ところ自分で当たってしまった。周りもになり
And so now Nage has the meter advantage.
ここでジャンプ D が当たってチャンスになるナギファウスと、これはしっか
And
り
that's big
届いている
damage.
今日このエキサイティング骨折も一日に何回も見る機会はない。
This is like
まだ残っているビジュアリメッカ混乱のめくりたく。
good cross up. I'm stealing that. Cross up off the super knockdown. Check it. Air dash, normally a safe jump, but turns it into a left right. That's hard to block. Saved by meteors. Very good. Big damage. Forced to burst. Had to burst. Ooh, nice backdash. I really like that backdash. That backdash here to upset the jump in spacing, right? Ram doesn't have, like, in that situation, Ram doesn't necessarily have a good answer to that, right? Like, what does she have to catch backdash there? She could jump again. She could jump S, which would air hit the backdash, and she'd get nothing, right? And if she swings the jump H, you're in a pretty good spot, right? So it's almost like backdash is an anti-air in that sense, right? Watch this. Boom. Now he's plus, right? He came out of the backdash. Yeah, the air special thing. Yeah, but the thing about that air special thing is it's unsafe. Like, you can just 5k it on reaction, according to Juxtaposer. I fucking suck at anti-airing it on reaction. But yeah, her options are limited. Big damage.
もう一度エキサイティング骨折。1試合に2回も骨折させられたらたまったもんではない。
Not bad.
そのままフィニッシュ。ということで、まずは1試合取ったのはナゲファウスト。
Alright, up one. Supposedly this is a bad matchup. According to Apology Man. He has some apologizing to do, I think. Look at this guy. Nage's winning. Oh, gold burst. Oh boy. Excellent. Oh. Hell yeah. All right. Oh, yeah, just wait it out. She's on fire. It's like, what are you doing, Ram? Right? So this safe jump, right, can't be burst. You can't burst there. If you do the safe jump correctly, you'll block the burst. And it guarantees the Afro gets lit, right? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, I wonder what that was. I don't know what that jump back H was. It might have been a goof. Simple and clean. Oh, okay. Big damage. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about, right? If you get counter hit, you're in a terrible situation, right? So half-life gone. Ram is in. Oh, he challenged so well. Mashed out. So Ram in this situation is going after Nage's jumping defense. His blocking and jumping. But in order to hedge against both of those options, you have to do stagger pressure. The detail the detail of it is like you don't think the opponent is going to mash out, right? You want to catch them jumping to keep them in place because they're scared of throw. But you want to also try and like maybe snipe their throw break or catch their backdash. It's like a lot of throw defense against throw loses to stagger pressure. But stagger pressure loses to mashed buttons. So there's this weird connection there that is very hard to like grasp. It's hard to get the whole thing, to wrap your head around it. But if you do, you'll find I feel like you'll level up your offense quite a bit. It's like she's going after Nage's throw defense. Most throw defense loses to stagger pressure. Stagger pressure loses to buttons. And here we go. 5P. 5P out. That's what led to that 5P working. Nage was presenting throw defense. Ram was trying to cover all throw defense with stagger buttons. So all the different ways you could blow up a throw. Backdash, fuzzy jump, right? But 5P. Great answer. And 5P technically does count as like throw defense, but it's a super risky one that could lead to you getting counter hit for a billion life. Uh-oh. Oh, that's a dead character. Delete it. Oh, so this is what I was talking about. Oh, that sucks. And good burst. Okay, that was real strange. I think Ram was like mind crushed here. Look at this. Like, what is this? You could have just pressed any button. Oh no. Oh no. We gotta watch this ad. It's important. The least we can do is watch this ad, alright?
See how you could get $200 or more with TD Easy Trade. Conditions apply.
That first vacation bed flop. Could it feel any better? If your family got their first check bags free using your WestJet RBC World Elite MasterCard, then yes, it can. Yes, please, flop away. Every moment feels better when you save up to $1,350 on your next trip.
In Civic Nation, yes
Oh,
is a word you
I gotta buy a Honda Civic now.
And with the all-new 2022 Honda Civic, there's even more to say yes to. Say yes to a whole new generation.
Can we watch the shawarma documentary again? You guys want it again? another shawarma documentary? Hell yeah.
Napkins have no business holding pizza. Ah, perfection. Welcome.
Frozen pizza. They know their target market. Okay, here we go. Good burst. So what the fuck? Why didn't you just press jab there? But okay, here we go. Oh, goes for the 50-50. So look at that. She tried to jump away from the throw, but didn't block while rising. Kind of ate shit for it. That was an air hit jump K. Probably not the best idea. Ooh, that's another thing, right? If your opponent picks up the afro, they can't 6P the scalpel. Doesn't work because they're too high. Okay. Oh no. Oh, this was such a turn. Oh no, this is so bad. So, Nage went for a fucking clip, alright? Look at this. This is a bad idea, I would say. It probably wasn't worth it to go for this. He tried to get real fancy and ate shit for it. He got put into the corner. He picked up his own afro. And he fucking... If he loses this round... Death. That was a well-deserved loss. He tried way too hard. Teleport RC Dust is good? Not in that situation. Yeah, it almost looked like a fucked up PRC throw. Okay, good. Went in, got the nice anti-air. He tried to make something happen off that pickup. Good crawl. Oh, backdashed unnecessarily into the explosion. Good throw. Nice. So that was an interesting exchange. Look, this item toss was mostly safe, right? She didn't have the weapons back yet. So she doesn't have an option that can actually punish you for throwing an item toss. That's something to keep in mind, right? Free items. Normally dash button against item tosses is a punish. But when Ram doesn't have swords, she doesn't have that. So 2H on block suddenly becomes very strong. 6H becomes very strong as well. If you can just freely cancel into item toss and she can't punish you for it. I think that most of that was burst safe. All right. Item. Ooh, nice jump S. Okay, great challenge. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Anti-throw defense. All right? Look at this. So he was threatening throw after 5P. That's what the Ram was scared of in this situation. That's the only reason you backdash. And it's generally pretty safe, right? To backdash there. It's like you landed a 5P at max distance. Any further chains aren't going to catch backdash. Like a 5P stagger isn't going to do anything to backdash. You're not going to eat shit. But he calls this out. He calls out fuzzy jump with this maneuver. And he calls out backdash with this maneuver. So he's threatening throw. She's scared of throw. She wants to reset neutral. So a tight stagger option she'll probably backdash away from, like button into button. She'll probably backdash away from. She'll backdash away from throw attempts. But he does dash up close S. So he leaves a big gap and goes after her. If she jumps here, she gets put back on her ass because she air blocks and then he's plus. And he catches backdash for big damage. So he left a big gap for her to mash out, right? After the 5P. But she doesn't want to get counter hit by like a 5H or some shit, right? Or other Faust buttons. So he took advantage of that. Ooh, interesting. How's the audio balance here? Good? Alright. He did the same thing just now. The exact same. He's got a read on this Ram's defense. This Ram is not pressing enough buttons after being put into block stun. Watch. Jab, jab. Goes after her again. Same thing. Jabs, dash up button. Only because he's ID'd that this Ram is not pressing buttons on defense. No Abare normals are coming out. Not enough. And so he's trying to capitalize on that, but also goad the Ram into pressing buttons on defense more often. And we might see punishes later in the round. Who knows? He might actually just knock her out here. But okay, good. Okay. Ooh, another backdash. So he went after the backdash again. It's gross. Gross. So that was close. He almost lost. All right. Will this be a vid? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna download the VOD after and then maybe upload it. The uploaded VOD should be correct now too. Hopefully. Oh, he tried to combo off the... Oh, it's best of 5. Oh, good shit. All right. So here we go. He probably tried to air dash over like a far S round star. Lights are on fire. So he tries to pick up off the explosion. But the timing was off. He tried to get like combo like 5D into Afro explosion. Oh, look at that setup. Very cool. So you'll notice that in these strings, right? These air dash strings are very hard to contest. Because 6P is no longer an answer when you have Afro, right? You can't just 6P anti-air on reaction. You have to jump or press a button to challenge these gaps. And that's very scary. So these air dash strings are very, very, very challenging to... Very, very hard to challenge on reaction. So you can kind of do these strings to set up fuzzy situations involving the rising jump K, jump D, or whatever. There are ways to time your block strings so that you get an invisible 50-50 with the 5D follow-up. So that's what he's going for. I'll probably do another video, or a video on it. But this is how, that air dash string is one of the ways Nage times mix-ups around the Afro explosion. Oh, tries to air. Ooh. Nice gold burst. That was a great answer. So holding onto your burst for those situations can be quite good. Nice. Oh, we tried to OTG and get something going. Some muck. Oh, he just blocked. Went after that. Backdash again. Ooh. Frame advantage for OTG mix is about +7. +5? +7? I have it listed somewhere. Oh. Mortar bottle. Oh, that's gross. Oh, that hurts. Goes after backdash again. Oh, gets the bad mix launch. Oh, nice whip punish. Ah, see, even though he got hit, he still challenged that hop on reaction. So here's the thing about Super PRC. I do it because it's cool, not because it's good. that meter is very important, right? And you have other ways to challenge the things you're trying to challenge with Super PRC. Super PRC beats throw and tight buttons. You already have something that beats those, right? Fuzzy jump. So why would you spend 50 bar and potentially eat shit if you get counter hit by a delayed normal, right? Why would you spend all of that on Super PRC when you can just block and then have 50 bar to play with later if you land a hit, right? Because the Super PRC is not getting you a lot of damage, right? So there's better ways to hedge with your options and better uses of meter. Oh, Zynek. How's it going? Welcome. Yeah, mix launch is weird right now because it's like it's possible to like get the fourth hit to whiff. I think that's how it kind of like mucks up. There's like a sour spot. If you start hitting with the outside of it, it just doesn't bounce. I kind of wish it would like suck people in or something. But all right. Oh. So he uses the BRC slowdown earlier to do a throw. That's hard to challenge, right? You can always challenge the throw by like using throw defense, right? Even in BRC slowdown, there are things you can do to avoid the throw. But he used the fear of throw to get the jump D to land.
投げファウストになりますね。
And then he won. All right. So I think Nage plays again immediately after this. Well, that was the first. That was the first one. That was just top 4. So that was like winners semis. We're in winners finals now. Daru Ino versus Nage. All right, we're gonna see a lot of the Ino matchup. This is good. I love this matchup. I think just to upplay, I think Faust wins this matchup. Historically, Faust bullies the fuck out of Ino. Did you see your 6-8 gender question? Continuing the mix? I mean, if it's a character you want to like keep out or farm items with, yeah, that's good. If it's a character you want to stay in on, or maybe you want to press the advantage, maybe you have the meter advantage and you don't need, you just want to like suffocate them, right? Or that you're playing against a character with like weak defense. Maybe that's just, maybe mid-range is better. But if your goal is like get Yogg Saran, right? Summon Yogg, then maybe you want to be throwing items as much as possible. It's hard to quantify, right? What's better, Oki, like close range Oki, or an item toss?
はい、見ていきましょう。その間に、ルーザーズのご案内させていただきます。
It's just one of those things, right? Where it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
ジオバーナですが、ルーザーズになりますのでよろしくお願いします。
All right, here we go. So, this is gonna be all right. Already off to a good start. Burst was baited. Good mash out. Oh my god. So, already, Nagi's lost 60% of his life because he was challenging air dash, right? You can't challenge air dash in this game on reaction. You can block it on reaction. But if you want to anti-air the air dash button from Ino, you need to press 5P or 5K on a read. So when you're defending against Ino and you're seeing a lot of like air dash jump H, right? Or a lot of like, oh, she's a little plus, air dash button. You have to challenge that with a button on a read. You can't just react and beat it. You'll be stuck in the blender forever. So Nage is just pressing buttons, right? Well, I don't know what that was. So I don't know what he was doing necessarily, but he was mashing. Here's an ad.
When we buy better, we can wear it longer.
Maybe he tried to grab? Maybe. But I would just block. Because the thing is, S-stroke? Oh, it's ninja. Hell yeah. Power up. Good job. Yo, unlucky. Oh, failed FD. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're brothers in failed FD. Eno matchup. Okay. We'll do. I'll add that to my little to-do. Give me a sec. Okay. OTG. Oh, spicy overhead. Yeah, it's not a bug, but I'm wondering if it just makes FD harder on defense, right? And this is a game that encourages you to like do IBFD, right? Like IBFD is a mechanic that you would expect people would want to use. And for FD to like get you killed, right? It's like, oh, okay. Right? So what would be the solution to like that kind of thing, right? Could you wipe the input buffer when you FD, like before leaving block stun? But right, it's like would that cause problems for characters like Zato? right? That's the only concern. Negative edge. Does Faust command grab safe jump not work on Baiken? Yeah, when she counters, I uploaded a little short on my YouTube channel of like a high damage counter punish if you want to have a good time. Yeah, you can't safe jump. Counters blow up safe jump because they're active frame 1 and you just hit like attack into it and then you're dead. Okay. Now you got ripped open. Next round. Yeah, and IBFD is a new mechanic, right? And IBFD might change later because right now it's kind of like a wild mechanic. It's like one of those mechanics. You know what I mean, right? It's like a fucking 2-frame window. No one can fucking do it. It's like, what the fuck? But if they were to make IBFD like too good, right? Then every character would need their offense retooled, right? Because like making it like a 4-frame window or some shit would be catastrophic for some characters. It'd be like, holy shit, what is this? What's going on, right? So it's just like one of those things. It's harder than Slashback. Yeah. The thing is, it's like this game encourages like a lot of like fuzzy jump, and in order to fuzzy jump, you have to let go of FD, right? You can't FD and then fuzzy jump. You can't fuzzy jump while you're holding FD. You have to let it go. So if you're FDing in the middle of FDing or some shit, or you press FD like a little too close to wake up, and you need to let it go, or you like, yeah. If you're inaccurate with your FD timing, right, and you want to fuzzy jump immediately afterwards or something, you have to let it go. Then it's possible to like have an execution error and then like press a button out of block stop. And it's so wide, right? So it only affects like certain players, right, doing certain things out of block. I don't think it's actually a problem for most people. But since I do a lot of like active defense, alright, here we go. Ooh, nice punish. Oh, he tried to steal the trumpet back, but this is good. Okay, sure. Ooh, he tried to like trap her with the bombs. Alright, here we go. Good gold burst. And getting items. Great wire seat. Oh my god. Oh my god, no. Alright, this is, oh my god, yeah. And there's that thing I mentioned, right? Your only way to open up a reactive opponent is uncharged 5D or throw. So uncharged 5D, because it would kill, it's essentially a 50-50, right? It's just an invisible high-low setup. Ooh, very good. That's the crazy thing about 5K in this matchup. Ooh, and here's another thing. Okay, so 5K recovers so friggin' quick, right? You can use it to check as an anti-air, and if it whiffs, if they bait the anti-air, you can still anti-air, right? That's the power of 5K. So he took a pot shot at like delay or whatever with 5K, missed. Eno went over, and he still had time to 6P. And you're going to see another little exchange here. Watch this. What's he doing? Yeah, it is probably possible to 2K 5D. I don't think they're going to do it, though. So here we go. What's happening here? This is the magic. Okay, he got hit. Yo, Rubigo. Check this shit out. So he got hit on purpose. He extended his 5K out, and he denied her the ability to go in, right? So he's in a good spot. So there's that anti-air. Boop. Oh, for the low price of like 10 HP. Oh, we tried to trap that. Didn't work. Not enough time. This is why I think like speeding up mix would be a oh my god, defense. So this is the craziest thing about Afro being lit on fire is during super animations the timer is delayed, right? Good defense. So right now the Afro will not explode, and it's not even counting down. So it changes the timing. Nice 5K. Nice 6P. Oh, he got spicy. Nice. He might have went for air throw and fucked it up and won anyways. Alright. Oh, dangerous. That's the scary thing about using dive kick too much, right? Is it's always punishable here. In this situation, it didn't counter hit, and it's too close. So 6P here is a guaranteed punish. There's nothing you can do as Faust to avoid a 6P here. This is one of the pain points coming from older Guilty Gears, is that dive kick is not so delicate in its use, right? Normally you can just dive kick and make something happen, but in this case, death. Ooh, tried to challenge probably the HCL here with the dash up 6P, or like some sort of like delayed air dash option, and got it hit for it. So Nage's expecting the air dash into low, or the air dash jump in into a low, but this is a super delayed overhead. So it's like, it's not a meaty. See, he's FDing right now. The move hasn't even connected yet. So Ino is doing a late overhead. So normally you block standing and then go to low on wake up, right? So you block meaty overhead and you go low. Or you block until the last possible moment, and as you see her land, then you go low. And you can do this to kind of shut down most of her offense. But the answer to that is for her to like delay even more and hit you overhead at the last moment, or like later after you've woken up, right? So on the timeline, instead of going overhead low or low, it's overhead, right? So you can't react to this. So you get ripped open. But you have to think about options over time if you want to digest defense, essentially. Oh, he tried to make something happen with bomb there with the 2S. Oh. All right. Not enough HP to clash with stuff anymore. Oh, okay. He got the hit. Went for the safe throw. So in this situation with the weight, most defense against throw is covered by the weight, right? So like if she jumps into the weight. If she backdashes, she gets knocked down by the weight. So, oh yeah, okay. He was desperate there. Nice. Ooh. Oh, managed to get the cross up. Another cross up. Manages to land that. The first throw. Remember we saw the ram who dashed back after this? Did not do that. Daru did not backdash. Guaranteed light. Goes for throw, probably. Or some sort of trap. He might have been baiting burst, actually. By going for the dash delay throw, right? Here? if Daru bursts, he'll probably block. Oh, no, never mind. The burst only came back just now, so it wasn't a burst bait. But those dash, like, delayed options are burst safe. Bomb. Not bad. Not bad. Well, it's a big ask to do everything cleanly, right? Ooh, nice 6p on round start by Daru. Okay. So he tries to put Ino in a situation where Mini Faust is now angry, right? And look what happened. Well, didn't get the combo, but... And here's another thing about the Ino matchup. The closer the projectile lands, the less hits it does. And so it's okay to get hit. Ino doesn't have enough frame advantage that close to make anything happen off of it. Alright, so this is very hard for her to play around. Okay, trumpet. Nice reposition. Great HCL. Great HCL. But lands a ton of items. That's a lot of... Oh, no. Chibi Faust is still there. He managed to pick up the trumpet in time. This whole round is just item exchanges. Okay, so here's the cool thing. He threw weight. He knew Daru had to jump to avoid the weight, or Daru gets guard crushed. So if that's the case, right? Jump H on air block is plus for Faust. So that's a plus situation. Ooh, nice tack.
Krackatoa!
Ooh, thanks for the follow. Alright. Daru closes it out. Round 1 to Daru. Oh boy. Oh, wrong cancel. In that situation, you have to confirm that you got an air counter hit and do Scarecrow. But that was a really low to the ground air hit 6H, so. Oh, great challenge. Ooh. Ha! I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do post-flash PRC. That's sick. At that distance, it might not work at close range, but at that distance, it might be possible. What a whiff punish. So here's the thing, right? Even if you're in the middle of a button like 2P, you want to be ready to react, right? Keep your eyes open. Just because you did 2P doesn't mean you stop playing reactively. You cover the ground with your 2P while looking for opportunities. That's a very hard skill to master. So reaction play, 2P, eyes open, sees HCL, whiff punish. So in a sense, 2P was an answer to HCL, if you think about it that way. But you have to have the reaction far S on deck for that to be the case. Then we got a Nage. Hell yeah, mascara. Gotta look pretty, alright? Gotta look good. Take care of self-care.
New Colossal Curl Bounce Mascara from Maybelline, New York.
Cheers. Everyone tuning in. Gummies. Are you team sour?
Smart Sweets. Feel good about candy. Find us at a store near
Feel good about candy? No. Do you know how old I am? I gotta worry about blood sugar and...
いちいち
Oh, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. All right. Backdash, backdash. Make some space. Here's the thing about the Ino matchup. Or another thing. Ino's movement sucks. She doesn't have a run. In case you haven't noticed, she hovers everywhere. And so that restriction on movement means she can't reposition easily. Every reposition is sort of like a small commitment. If she's scared of far S or like anti-air buttons or whatever, she can't reposition like other characters can. She can't just micro dash or walk forward or micro dash forward block, dash block. She has to like do her little air dash into block. And so it makes her closing the gap is very difficult for her. Yeah. So it's something you don't have to deal with, right? As Faust, you have a full run, a decent backdash, and a good backwalk. So all that matters quite a bit. If you want to make space for yourself, there's very little she can do to stop you. She can HCL, right? But HCL is very risky, right? If Faust decided to run forward in that moment, dash forward, then, you know, she might eat shit.
ガードして逃げていくつくガードして立ち系
Oh, see? See? He was just running. That's all. He didn't have to commit to anything. Boom, big damage. Confirm. Take her to the corner. Scary. Guard crush. Oh. So that's an interesting backdash. It almost looks like... Let's see. What does the backdash here do? Backdash baits throw break. Probably gives him a reaction opportunity to punish if he's really on point. And he's still available to go after her jump, right? Because he's recovered. And if she does mash out with like a 5P or something, even though a tight throw here would probably beat the 5P, because that's how guard crush works. Getting air hit in this situation probably just sends him full screen. So in that sense, backdash as a bait, not bad. Oh, Gonzo's streaming. Oh, big damage. So this is sort of what I was talking about, going after the situation after they jump, right? It's okay for your snipe against throw defense to be, oh, just let them jump. And then, boom. Nice. Hell yeah, VTubers. Yeah, and there's nothing. And Ino's losing the meter war. That was a very interesting 2S. Check this shit out. So here's the thing. When you snipe bomb, when you touch bomb, you're frozen because of hit stop, right? So like on impact, your character is frozen in place. And you're stuck there. Your hurt box is there. Your hitbox is there. Persistent. For an extra... Depends on the level of the move. But if it's like a level 3 move, that's an extra like 14 frames or something. It's just stuck out there. That actually makes a... That actually gives you a chance to react with a whiff punish. I think. Was it a reaction? It might be extra long. That was a prediction. So 2S is disjoint in that situation. It has a little bit of disjointedness at the bottom. So you can snipe their attempt to hit the bomb by dashing up and getting them essentially to stick their hand in the blender.
大木バースト警戒金バーストまでしっかり投げファウスト簡単の投げファウストすごいすごいすごい試合でした。
All right, Nage goes on. So
ファウストがグーさんは
we've got
配信台でやらせていただ
we've
きます
got one more
あ間違えちゃった
event, one more battle,
一旦じゃあもう
and we've got to look at. We got some other boys. Roy's our boy.
取り切るまでこれ補正がだいぶ痛いところだが
Our Ram is still playing.
今月置いたところに限界惚れてしまうそこから
Roy versus Ino. Oh, Nage versus Ino. Grand finals.
まずはデュエルワンここで
All right. Here we go. Grand finals. Grand final set.
さあマイピーカウンターヒットメッカ訓練通して次はアフロ
Here
を
we
投
go.
げて固めていくこれはアフロになってしまう
Oh, this is bad. Ooh.
ジャンプティー
Very good.
爆発して
Big damage.
そのままいった青マスは
Oh, I think he might have went for the burst bait,
画面端をどうしのぐかというところ
but
で
didn't delay long enough.
バーストはあるなぎファースト空対空は相打ちしてこれはうまく
Nice reposition. Holy shit.
つくが見えたが横
That's what I'm talking about, right? Her movement is so stilted because she has to air dash to move, right? So she can't reposition to punish the Scarecrow very easily, right? So he takes the corner back.
画面端脱出つくが見えたが横にラッパーを投げてコーナーちゃんハイカウンターヒット見逃さない
Nice.
ここは合わせ使っていく体力ほぼ5分の状況ラッパーを取ったが
Nice.
空中前ダッシュ
Oh,
距離
good
は読んでいた
6P.
マイピーを置いているガードして大木赤キャン次はすかしてここで
That's hard to defend against. Ooh. You have to jump that on prediction or 5P the air
試合
dash.
目からフルスロッ
on
トル
prediction.
ダルイノイノがまずはデュエル1を取っていく
That's very strong.
デュエル2
The only way you can challenge that is on a read. If you're playing reactively, you're going to eat shit. But you don't want to stop playing reactively because playing reactively does answer some of Ino's kit. So, alright, have a spin. Slightly James. Oh, y'all got knocked down. Sorry. Tungsten? Yo, you got a coin level 2 tungsten. Congrats. You're slightly more plus on block. Alright, good with punish. Reactive Nage. Ooh, nice. So here's the thing, right? Here's another thing. Here's the thing. I keep saying that. HCL is a phenomenal whiff punish, right? When you think about it, right? It's like a move like Faust 5K isn't active very long for a big ass move, right? But it's about 25 frames total duration or some shit. It's like 10 frame, or sorry, it's like 7 frame startup, 8 frames active, 10 frame recovery or some shit. It's very short. It's a very fast move. But if you're outside of range and you have a button that covers it, right? I could press 5K like before or after Ino does HCL, and I wouldn't be able to like stop myself, right? It's sort of like, how do I explain this? The practical window for Ino to snipe a 5K is very large. It's super, like when you stop and think about, like, if she was trying to snipe a 5K in a vacuum, right, with HCL, it's actually a pretty big window. It's actually like pretty sizable compared to like other things you would do, right? If you wanted to like snipe an extended 5K with a 6P or something, maybe you have a character that can like hit it 6P it. That's a small window. That move's only extended for like 10 frames, right? But an HCL hits the body, right? It can hit it in startup. She could be in the middle of HCL and I don't react in time and I press 5K even though the HCL is already out there. The actual timing window to like for that move to beat the 5K is big. very big. And so evaluating those like timing windows, right? Oh, this move is actually like, it's pretty easy for her to hit the 5K with this move, right? Helps you develop a sense of like what answers what, right? Being mindful of these windows, the size of these windows, these timing windows, giving yourself like evaluating margins of error, right? Well, yes, this move can beat this move, but how likely is it to happen, right? There's like a 2-frame window where a far S from Faust can beat a 6P from most opponents. A 2-frame window, right? You can counter hit someone out of the first 2 frames of 6P. Does that mean far S is an answer to 6P? Of course not. You go, whoa, thank goodness I fucking counter hit that guy out of that 6P. A couple frames later, I would have eaten shit and lost the match. Right? HCL versus 5K is on the other end of that spectrum. Right? That is the perfect move to whiff punish a 5K, right? HCL can hit all of the startup, all of the recovery, and if HCL's already out there, maybe I haven't reacted to the fact that it started up, and I press 5K, I'm like, oh, I should 5K here against air dash, and I'm like, oh no, right? 10 frames into my 5K, I'm like, see that HCL's on the screen. I'm like, fuck. I'm dead. Anyways, let's get some spins. Black hole for Hiruden. Survivor Rabbit. Oh. I'm sorry, bud. Fire Kami. Fireworks. Congrats. Bamboo, Afro. Oh, and one was, oh, Bracket Man. You can have, no, I'll give you a real one. Oh, 10,000 ton weight. Well, you're all knocked down again. All right, let's keep going. All right. So there it is again, right? So against whiff normals at max super max range, HCL is the perfect answer. So if you're whiffing a lot of stuff at max range against a smart Ino, you would be like, oh, if I'm whiffing like 5K at a distance, I'm going to goad Ino into doing HCL, right? But if you're dying to HCL a lot, maybe you should ask yourself, am I giving her too many opportunities to hit me with HCL, right? It seems like, and part of like being mindful of like timing windows is like building that awareness of like, oh shit, this is why HCL's landing so much. I'm pressing these buttons at max distance that are big and easy to hit. Of course I'd get hit by HCL. Stroke also very good against the 5K. Oh, nice backdash catch. Ripped open. That's a dead character. So, Daru's up. Oh, scummy. Nice frame trap. Nice catch. Here's the thing, right? If you fuzzy jump out, I'll let you guys stand up. If you fuzzy jump out and you get over something that's not a throw, right? If you get over a fast button, you better not have pressed jump D to punish that throw, or that happens. So in some cases, what you want to do is jump and play reactively. Keep your eyes peeled, right? I would consider this a mistake, but I'm not 100% sure if I would call it that, because there are some things you can beat with the falling jump D that's not throw. But in this case, you're leaving yourself open to get anti-aired.
東京が厳しい形が続いている投げファウスト。オーバージャン S オーバージャン S 張り付けて、ここは送ってみるポ選択。
Wall slump.
下段が刺さって、もう一度中段から紫が出て、青は卒業。
Okay, bursts out. All right, here we go. Oh, what a hit. What a hit. That was sick. I kind of wish Dar didn't have burst, so we could have saw the combo from that, but it's just how it is.
さあリセットにまず手をかけたのはダルイノイノ。ダストが勝ったヒット。HP で暴れているが
Oh, going at, he's hedging against air dash with the 5P. Nice late throw break. Holy shit. So this, to me, this throw break proves that Nage's been doing late throw break on defense, but you have no idea how much he's been doing it, right? Because if you're doing late throw break successfully, that input is masked by block stun. So seeing what is unseen is kind of like one of those things about learning offense. How do you beat a late throw break, right? How do you punish someone for doing that? You have to be aware of how much they're doing it and like what you get for baiting it out and all that stuff. So this is where looking over like a replay and watching your opponent's inputs and kind of like seeing what they're doing on defense is very important. That's what I like about the plus R update, because you can like run through a replay of a match you played, and if someone's OSing on defense, you can actually just like you can see it. You can just like jump into the replay, just not go in instead of going in, and you get to see all the option selects they're doing on defense. It's very interesting.
了解しちゃいますね。みぐみさんこんばんは。これただこれがもうグランドファイナルです。立ち切り
Are we gonna get a reset? Nice punish. Oh, good punish. That's the sad thing about 6H, is it's like 6H item toss is definitely like not safe ever. Nice punish. Trumpet. Okay, good YRC. Good defense on Ino's part. Reset. Bracket reset. We got one more. One more once. All right.
どうなってしまうんだ。さあそのまま始めてください。行きましょう。グランドファイナル
Pretty good.
投げファウスト対ダルイノイノ。このまま連勝を重ねてダルイノイノが逆転優勝。
Okay, this is for all the
投げ
marbles.
ファウスト踏みとどまるのか注目の一戦です。
I have my kitty cat mug. Hell yeah. I think my mom bought this in like 1998 or something. It's an old mug. Happy Family Day, by the way. Great awareness. Holy shit. How does Faust play offense in this matchup? He plays it. It's just a lot of defense. I mean, you play offense like every other matchup. Like, Ino doesn't have like the crazy defense, so this is pretty much how it's supposed to go.
立ち系確定でしっかりパニッシュを取っている。前 P からネック
Oh, nice.
さあここでもう一度物を投げていく。自らアフロになるが、さあうまく愛を投げていきたいところ。
Out.
投げてネッカコンレンで画面走り出して
Oh, look out. That's interesting. Covering your escape with Afro. Oh, this is bad for Eno. Oh, great. Oh, we got cucked. But yeah, as you clean up your offense, it becomes pretty self-explanatory. Faust kind of like runs offense on all characters. The only thing he has to think about is like, do they have a what you call it? Oh, it's in French. French ninja. Bravez l'intensité. Hell yeah. We got into the Quebec ads. Hell yeah. Parlez-vous français?
Limitless possibilities.
Actually, I was told I have the worst French voice. I'm some sort of weird anglophone French monster. What was I talking about? Right. Once you learn how to like run clean offense, it's the same in every matchup pretty much. The only thing you accommodate for is like whether or not the opponent has what you call it? What do you call it? A DP, a reversal. That's the only thing you accommodate for. Do I speak French? Not really. I went to French immersion for 4 years, and it was in my formative years, so it had an impact, but I haven't used it. Big damage? Taking Oki. So you can break the wall. So you can use your 50 bar to break the wall, but I don't think it's worth it. Oh, very good. So here, this is a reaction PRC to save himself, and because Eno's jump option, falling jump option, was very slow, he has enough time to anti-air. So, if she had fallen with like jump K or something, maybe it would have punished better, but spicy. Generally speaking, in high-level play, you have to be very cautious about jumping away from opponents that have PRC on deck for their throws. Oh, what an interesting backdash. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. Suffocating. Oh, good gold burst though. I'm not sure if you can hear this announcer, but he's getting higher and higher pitched as he gets tighter and tighter. So good. Alright, so here's the thing. Nage does have really good defense. That's it. That's the end of that thought. Okay, nice trade. Oh, great, and like so. See, here we go. Right? Just hits doesn't care about the projectile. Hits it, and then anti-airs behind it. Boom. Nice reaction 2H to obliterate Eno for doing fireball. Just like eyes open. Eyes open, guaranteed 2H. You see that fireball at that range? Obliterate. Yes, pick up. Nice. Very good. Clean. Clean. Interesting jump back option. Very good. I like that sequence. So he's going for 6H. He's not spending the meter on super. And I think in this matchup that makes sense. Because you win neutral. Why would you spend the bar? You already got positive bonus. The damage isn't going to be like that crazy. Having 50 bar in this matchup sounds really good. Keeping that meter advantage? Oh my god, what a fucking punish. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh, you know what? You know, Daru thought he was going to have enough meter to RC. Right? Look at that. Just a pixel. A pixel. Boop. Oh. Needed 0.01 meter to make that work. So the mix to catch backdashes is not necessarily a threat of throw. The backdash is trying to whiff through a button and create space that is more optimal to challenge like Faust options, right? So I bring this up in defense.mp4, I think, where backdash is good to challenge throws, but also create a good situation against like towards the end of strings, right? So it might not be button throw. It might just be button button. And you're trying to backdash through that last button to either reset space or you backdash through the button and you are now plus. It's a very crazy, it's a very nuanced exchange. It's probably like one of the most outlier and least explained ways of using backdash because it's so specific. Because some characters have like lots of block strings that just like blow up backdash regardless of what you do. But generally, a general rule is that at a distance, right, at mid-range, buttons are unlikely to be able to convert catching backdash, right? So you could get hit and eat a little bit of damage, but you get knocked full screen, you're out, right? Or they whiff a button through you, through the backdash invuln, and now you're in a very good spot, right? Those two are good. But at that situation, mix is a hard call out, right? To go after backdash. So you might see a long distance backdash and a long distance mix happen, and the mix wins, right? And that was the exchange. It wasn't necessarily an exchange based around the threat of throw, but it was it was an exchange around them trying to make something happen with the spacing. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. But then mix just like picks up, and then yeah. Those are the two. There might be other uses for backdash in a string, but those are the two major ones. And I'll be real, like, I haven't thought about backdash mid-string as in like an answer to buttons that much because it's pretty nuanced. But I've had people like Peppery Splash tell me it's like, oh yeah, you should just backdash towards the end of this string. And I think it was in plus R, and he's like, Johnny can't do fuck all in this matchup if you do that. I'm like, oh, cool. Thank you. And then I started like thinking about that stuff more. Have a spin. Reaper, subconscious guide, helium.
All right. Let's go. Let's do it.
見ていきましょう。投げファウストがリーチ。
All right. So here, in this situation, right,
愛が通る。キンス見ていきましょ
we want to look
う。
at...
投げファウストがリーチ。
So he's playing reactively right here, right?
グランドファイナル
Reactive Faust. This is where, if you watch my video stroke.mp4,
見ていきましょ
this is where that OS would be super useful, right? You're playing reactively. What you can do is you can low block S-stroke and punish with 5k, but you buffer a late stand throw to catch H-stroke.
う。投げファウストがリーチ。グランドファイナルリセット。
But that didn't happen here.
投げキンス垂直の様子見て。つくはガード。もう一丁ついて。
There we go. Good punish.
かぶせていたのだるいの。
That's another thing for you,
Newer players.
チですから。
Yeah, differentiating between them both on the fly is impossible. That's correct because they look identical up until they hit, right? They're the same animation. One just hits earlier than the other. So what you do is you do a maneuver that just covers both, right? So it's like stroke is coming, right? And this S stroke goes here, right? So you're blocking here, S stroke impact. Blocking, stand, and throw. H stroke here, right? So it's just like you'll block all the way up to S stroke, and then throw. And the gap between S stroke and H stroke is fixed and large enough where you can squeeze in a throw, right? So you block S stroke, throw H stroke, and it's all one motion, right? And you do it as soon as you see any stroke, like either stroke. It doesn't matter which one. You're just like, because S stroke is reactable, but it's so fast that you'd have to be like a lord, like a god to DP it on reaction, and you don't have a DP as Faust, right? So, but this works. Stroke.mp4 for more information.
キンス垂直の様子見て。つくはガード。もう一
So this is another thing. I talked about timing windows, right? This was when I was talking about 5K versus HCL, right? And long dominant normals, moves that are big and long to animate, are generally weak to jump-ins or air dashes, right? Because you can go up and over something ahead of time, come down on top of them. If you kind of like evaluate, it's like if you had to jump over a big long button in a vacuum, it's like, it's not a big ask, right? The problem is you have to jump to set that up.
丁ついたところ、ここは上からかぶせていたのだるいの。
What about trying the IB6H to guarantee grab on either stroke?
もう一丁打ち。
IB6H.
音符の隙、しかし青バーストに爆発が当たってなんというアドリブ的な青バースト。
See, that's the thing. I'm not sure if I could react to S stroke.
マイピー暴れを読んでドリルのタイミングをずらしていく
With
だけ
throw.
しかし逆に暴れつぶし、だるいのが立ち配それでカウンターを取って。
Maybe if I was a god. But you can also space S stroke to not be thrown. So it's dicey.
よきみ、先に当てた。マイハイスラーアイがここはバナナが出てきたドリルからアイを投げて突っ込んでいく。体育を上から潰す形になったか。音符からジャンプリー。
Hard to block.
これはウォールブレイク。
Disgusting.
横手に。テーブク、しかしてドリルが当たってネックゴールの前にしたけどガードが間に合っている。テーブクまでガードして紫キャンセル。中段が当たってここは一気に押し切ってバーストギリギリ間に合っている。
Nice burst.
Oh
my goodness. I'm surprised that didn't... I'm surprised that didn't work. Normally this anti-air is I wonder how tight it actually is. You might have to 6P.
だるいのいのが2本目。
Jeez Louise.
完全最終試合。
2-2. Last game.
どっちが勝つんだ。初優勝の投げファウストか、上昇のだるいのいのか。見ていきましょう。グランドファイナル最終戦。
Ooh, nice counter hit, dive kick. Great stroke. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh no, that was not good. Oh my god. That's disgusting. Oh. Gross. I mean, this is technically, this rising jump D is technically not invisible, but it's hard to block. Is there a tournament happening later? I don't think so. Not that I know of. Oh, nice hit. So here, he probably might have been able to actually pick up. But I don't know about you guys. I've died here a lot going for 6H. I'm sure you've had it happen too, right? Dive kick is a pretty high gravity starter. It's like a high pro rate starter. So I wonder if it affects gravity. I'm not sure if 6H would have picked up here. It might not have. So he was right to just special cancel. Oh. Daru fucked up trying to deal with bomb. Ooh, interesting. That was a weird mix. Just bully his way in. Alright. Oh, nice. Fuck. I wish I could mash out a stagger like that. I'm so bad at it. Nice 6P. Big damage. Oh, here we go. There's no way. That's like Sats. Instant death. And I think that's it. Your champion. The master of Yogg. I mean, what do you mean by like tournaments, I guess? Do you mean like soon? Like there's always tournaments, right? Oh, we got an ad. We'll watch one more ad.
We can change that.
Who's streaming?
When we buy better, we can wear
Oh, yeah, Street Fighter 6 was announced. Dang. Eris is playing KOF. KOF. Nerd Josh playing KOF.
Let's do our own investing. Make some money moves.
Here's an idea. With RBC, we can invest on our own, or with helpful advice.
We don't have to choose?
Nope. Money moves and kicking back.
Super Rad's playing the Dragon Dogma. Enter the Gungeon on Hotashi's channel. Alright. Well, that's it. We did it. Shoutouts to Yumegi Wahatake and their channel. Seven hours in? Dang. What a trooper. Anyways. Have a spin, Bamboo. Bodied.